We're
live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the World of Gray podcast. In a society divided by black and white arguments, we're here to explore
the world of gray.
I am Colonel's Cougar Meat Kid Cutler.
I am the Flow Mike Chisholm, and I am very excited to be hanging out with you, talking. It feels like it's been a long time since we've done this.
Well, in studio, we've done some remote viewings. We've figured out technology. We've flailed with technology a little bit. So today we're talking about false narratives and the spread of fake news. All things fake news, what that means. Is fake news as big of an issue as Trump and others make it out to be?
I wish Lisa Marie would join us on this podcast.
Yeah,
she has a lot to say about fake news.
This is just a really great example of the world of gray. Something that's kind of started to frustrate me as time has gone on, because not only is fake news a real thing, but calling things fake news is a way of spreading a false narrative as well.
I know.
So we're in this really weird spiraling rabbit hole of information these days. And I think it's our duty to help unravel and dig through some of the bullshit.
Like our duty?
Our duty. Yours and mine.
Or like our as a people of...
I think as a people, but yours and mine. This is why this podcast exists. We are here to dig into the world of gray.
I didn't realize what I did was so important. What's important?
Oh, no one's going to listen to it. That's fine.
No.
So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that too much.
All right.
But I think
just like Jesus, when he was here, he said a bunch of good things, but nobody listened to him.
I watched Explained, an episode.
The church has been built around him, and nobody's listened to him.
There's an episode of Explained about cults.
Be lovely to each other. Just love each other.
Talking about how cults are formed, and if you look at the story of Jesus, it's kind of similar. He kind of did similar things, right?
Sure.
Like going around and preaching, and I don't know. It was an interesting equivalence.
People should just listen, and
Lee Waters has joined us from Okanagan Wrestling Review. He is going to be joining us on the Meat Market podcast later when we talk about the current state of professional wrestling.
Good.
Right now we're talking about false narratives. I shared a video on YouTube that talks about the origins of false narratives and talks about circulating reporting or circulatory reporting.
Did it talk about that TV show that came out years ago that everyone believed? Everyone thought it was news. It was like a TV show about a nuclear war that was happening, and everybody thought it was real news.
That's amazing.
Oh, dude! I see. This is the generation gap right here.
See, and that's pretty much what we're talking about here. How false news circulates. So one interesting example they had. One interesting example they had is how back in the day, you would have a news source that would share information with another news source, and then that news source would print it, and then source A that originally put that information out there would then source site B as it being a source for their own information.
Right.
And then now with the day and age of technology spreading all that a lot faster, it's hard to really find where the source came from.
Right.
So yeah, it's pretty interesting time here in the world of information, and not everyone, but there's a lot of alternative commentaries or news sources that talk about the marketplace of ideas. I don't know if you've heard this saying, the marketplace of ideas. I think we're more now having a war against facts.
Yeah, man. And I mean, I don't know where, I want to go back to where this started. The TV show I was referring to earlier was a made-for-TV movie called The Day After. And The Day After appeared on TV, and it was about a
Tyler Mason has joined us.
Yeah, T. Mace. It was a show about a fictitious nuclear war that was happening between NATO and Warsaw countries, and nuclear war started. And they did such a good job of making it seem like it was the actual news. This is 1983.
Yeah.
That everybody was freaking the fuck out. And the next day they were like, oh my God, people were actually thinking this happened. And I go back to, what's that old radio show that they made sci-fi movies on where they said aliens were coming and everyone heard it and they believed it. What was that? Was it Day the Earth Stood Still? Not Day the Earth Stood Still, but it was one of those shows. And I think that it's happened accidentally.
Kevin Jeffers has joined us.
Yo, KJ. I think it's happened accidentally in so many of the world of entertainment that news directors started looking and going, oh, look at this. If we just said something, provocative, we can actually get people believing it. It's not actually just the world of entertainment. I think it's spread from there. I mean, in our modern society, but it's really propaganda. Aren't narratives, when it comes down to narratives and things like that and what people believe, isn't that just what propaganda is?
Well, and that's like the origin of fake news was propaganda. So, I mean, yeah, in a lot of ways, false narratives. And the problem with fake news is it's become such a
buzzword.
Yeah, such a buzzword now that it just kind of bothers me to even say.
Yeah.
But putting a false narrative out there is a way to push propaganda. You look at the war in Iraq and weapons of mass destruction, and that's all you heard. And you're fear mongering off the coattails of 9/11, and everyone's in this fear state. And then you start talking about weapons of mass destruction, which had no evidence base on it. It was just a way of pushing war. And now we know that was never true. There was no weapons of mass destruction, but the damage has already been done.
Okay, so this is a really good one here, because I look at where we are right now as a society and how polarized we are. I believe that the squeaky toy will not help.
I know
our listeners.
I know, but he's so happy.
He is happy. You're named after a tag team, and you love squeaky balls. Much like that tag team you're named.
Jade Roberts has joined us.
The squeaky tag team you're named after also loves
WOG Original.
WOG Original.
WOG Original. I say WOG because get WOG.
Oh,
you like it?
No.
Yeah, no, but that's perfect. If you hate it,
kinda. Yeah, it's
get WOG.
Well, that's perfect. Then
I'm gonna whisper it.
Oh no.
WOG.
Get World of Gray. Okay, so go back to the weapons of mass destruction. I look at where we're at right now. Like, people talk about Pizzagate and all these things that, these crazy rumors and crazy things that people believe hard. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mock them right now, but what I am going to do is go back and mock people who believed in the weapons of mass destruction. You had people walking around, like, who have never met any of these people, have never been in any meetings, have never even watched entire or read entire transcripts of the back and forth between some of these organizations here, and they were like convinced, no dude, Iraq has weapons of mass destruction.
We need to do something now.
They're there, and they're convinced of it. And these are people who have heard something third, fourth, fifth, 10th, 20th hand.
Yeah.
And it's literally a game of telephone.
Yeah.
And back then, weapons of mass destruction, people were
so woke. Get woke.
No, we're not.
I'm gonna whisper it every 5 minutes.
Oh gosh.
The best part
I don't even.
I could do it without you even hearing me, because I can hear how quiet I can do it.
Well, congratulations on your hearing.
It's like subliminal.
Because you have cans on.
Because I got the cans on.
I don't. Seriously, like, people were excited about arguing that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction, and it's like, they don't know.
No one knows.
No one knows. It's like this Pizzagate thing. I know somebody who says that that Barack Obama's wife, Michelle Obama, is a man.
Is a tranny. Yeah, it's a big thing.
It's a big thing.
It's a big thing. And a huge thing. So many people believe it. Isn't that crazy?
They believe it, and they've never met this person, and all they've done is they just heard a couple things. Somebody's written something, and they read it, and they go, okay, well, I guess that makes sense then, and they've bridged it up, and they will argue to their core.
Well, because a lot of these Facebook videos, they use music, and it's like all trippy music, so it sucks you in, right? So music is a big thing. Anytime you watch these conspiratorial videos on YouTube, there's always some sort of music in the background that draws you in, and then they're sourcing these sources that sound very legitimate. One good example of this, somebody had sent me a Pizzagate type video, and it was talking about Hardy. I know you want the toy. Relax. He worked 1 hour a week, and he's like disruptive. I'm gonna have to. This is going on your performance review.
Is that what I just said? Is that an insensitive thing to say, that he's all bitchy?
It's incorrect because he's a male.
Yeah, except unless I was going for that, like, he's acting like,
It doesn't offend me, but who knows?
He offends him.
He just wants the ball. What offends him is us not giving him the ball.
Being bitchy.
So, I mean, somebody had sent me some conspiracy video, and in the video, the guy, it's a guy trying to say that the royal family in England is part of some pedophile ring or whatever. But it was like, according to the International Tribunal of Internal Investigations into the royal family. And I said, no, hold on a second. I was like, I've never heard of this tribunal of investigation. So I looked it up, and it was a one-man blog where this guy just makes shit up. Is literally a one-man blog, and this guy just makes shit up, And then these YouTube, and then these, he named it the International Tribunal of Internal Investigations into the royal family.
Those guys sound, according to them.
And so then this video is citing it as and if you're susceptible to conspiracies or stoned, you're just going to listen to this, and that sounds like a very official source, and it's going to trip you out, and then you're going to start looking up videos that, force you into an echo chamber that just solidifies that belief. And it's just, honestly, I'm so tired.
Are you?
I'm just so tired of it all.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired of listening to people pushing information that they haven't found the source of.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of having to dig through and find the sources of every fucking thing I read to see if there's any validity to what I'm reading.
So what's the end game for that, dude? Like what's the end game to push these things with so much emotion and just
views?
Is that what it
yes,
is?
Because
somebody's
now,
trying to get views.
Because we live in a world where you can literally make money off getting people's attention.
Right.
Our attention is up for sale. Every second of our attention span is up for sale.
I think I know where we went wrong.
So
we haven't gotten anybody's attention.
Because we refuse to. I mean, we do our clickbaity, jokey things on YouTube.
Yeah.
But
we're mocking clickbait.
we're not paying for advertisement because we haven't done that yet. So that's a big thing.
Yes.
And we're not just making shit up to get views.
No.
Look at the videos we've done that have gotten the most views is the video where I said I'm getting kicked out of my house due to a sex party.
Yeah.
And everyone clicked it because they thought there was some sex party going on in my house. It's ridiculous.
Was a sex party happening at your house.
And there was a sex toy party happening in your house. But it's just, we're in this ridiculous world where you have to have these obscene titles just to get some views.
Yeah.
Even some of my favorite, most respected independent news people or commentators like David Pakman, he puts fucking clickbaity shit on his YouTube channel.
That's an old deal.
It's
Remember
the
old advertisement?
Oh, shush.
Sex. Now that I've got your attention, come see our great deals on getting your tax return done with us.
But now there's so much more of it, right? Like there's just so much of it, and it's being forced. I mean, with algorithms and shit, it's being forced in front of our eyes. And I want to use this tiny little platform that even if we can reach like 2 or 3 people that are the type of person that just share information.
We're a micro platform.
A micro platform. Ooh, I like it. We're going to start a bunch of micro platforms.
Yeah, certain.
If you're the type of person that shares something before actually looking into whether or not there's any validity to it, you need to stop.
Yeah, please.
You need to stop. And I know I've probably done it in the past. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but at least at the bare minimum, dig through some of the comments. That's what I tell Jen when she tells me something she read. I'm like, did you look at the comments? Because guaranteed someone's gonna, I'm one of these people.
I avoid the comments.
Is gonna go into the comments and say, hey, like this isn't true. This is the source. Like I try to do that on these things, right?
Yeah.
I'll look up the source. It'll take me 2 seconds to fact check it, and then I'll bring some of those sites over, right? See, I mean, those could be wrong too, though.
But I won't look at YouTube comments. I won't look at comments on anything anymore. He's an angry dog. So here's a question for you. Because, I mean, you've seen YouTube comments on many videos, right?
Stop it.
Would you, for what we're doing, our little dog and pony show, literally a dog, we're looking for the pony. Would you rather we have some of that bullshit on our YouTube channel? Our YouTube channel is clean right now. It's pristine. Nobody's leaving any comments because nobody knows about us. Nobody subscribed, and we haven't done anything to, to promote it. But
please like and subscribe.
Yeah, well, maybe. Okay, so here's the thing. A bunch of people like it and a bunch of people subscribe to it. Then at a certain point, what's going to happen? Don't be sad. What's going to happen is we're going to get the bullshit. We're going to get the comments.
It has happened.
You see on many YouTube videos, and you're like, well, yeah, that one guy who said, you guys.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't mean about YouTube, but we have had, we've pulled out.
Do we want that? So here's my question is, do we want to get to a point where so many people are watching what it is that we're doing?
Yeah.
That bullshit gets attached to our comments. Like somebody takes one thing that you said, and then they link you back to that pedophile ring. And now Colin Cutler is part of a
But I'll explain myself. But I'll explain to you. I'll come on and I'll make a video.
Colin Cutler has nothing to do with the pedophile ring. I'm just using it as an example.
This is what I've said or a lot of people have said, and I've kind of reiterated, is the answer answer to bad speech is not censoring or ending your platform or panicking and retreating. The answer is more speech. And if somebody tries to say that we're spreading some false narrative because we're part of some secret blood-sucking vampire cult, then I'm going to make a video explaining why the World of Grey is not part of some secret blood-sucking cult.
Yeah.
I'll show you my bank account. I'll do whatever to explain why we have the narrative that we have.
I'd like to see your bank account. I bet you're really efficient when it comes to fees. I bet you found yourself something where it's like a minimal amount of fees for your banking.
Oh yeah, I'm unlimited.
Yeah, see?
I pay like whatever, $10 a month.
See, I'd like to see your bank account. That sounds really good.
But I don't know. It's not only a great world of great topic, but it's a really tough world of great topic because it's so all over the place. And I don't have all the answers, but I do have a little bit of direction for anyone that's trying to learn about any one topic. But on top of that, I understand anyone that it throws their hands up in the air and goes, oh, forget it. Because it's so, like, especially politics is a good example. I don't want to get too political because I know we lose viewers when we start talking about politics because it hurts people's heads. And I don't blame anyone because it's just all so confusing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you look at the Trump-Biden fiasco that's going on, getting close to the primary elections right now, where both sides are telling the truth about the other side but lying about themselves. So there is like false information going around, but then there's some real information, and it's just corruption on every side. There's a really good meme going around where it's like Democrats are like, it's all the Republicans' fault. The Republicans are like, it's all the Democrats' fault. And it's Andrew Yang saying it's all of our faults for electing politicians that care more about blaming the other side than coming up with solutions to the problems.
It's true. It's a great soundbite, and it's true.
It's a great soundbite, and it's a great meme, and it's why I'm a huge Andrew Yang fan, is because it's all such games. Like, think about how much money and effort is going into this impeachment process. And one thing I think it was Jimmy Dore I was listening, who is asking, he's like, ask all these Democrats that are want impeachment, what's the end game? What's going to happen?
Yeah.
And I bet you they don't have an answer. What's going to happen with the impeachment process?
Yeah.
Nothing. If anything is going to help Trump's approval rating, and he's probably going to win the 2020 election. Right? Just like Bill Clinton's approval rating went up after the impeachment process.
Can I just say that they're talking about the 2020 election, and we have a Canadian national election going on in like a month, less than a month?
Yeah, and that's another great point because
it only took 2 months of campaigning to get that sucker done.
Well, and how much more information and false news is being spread about the American election. Yeah. And we have false news about everything. Diet trends, and honestly, a lot of it is because it's follow the dollar, right? We want to sell some sort of diet plan or
what's your
supplements.
Diet plan?
My diet plan is try not to overeat and try to exercise and try to cut out sugar and try to eat more vegetables.
But how are you going to make money on that?
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. And this is honestly, and I tell people this all the time when they sign up at the Y. It's why I've stayed with the YMCA for 8 years and haven't sold out to make more money. Like, I could work at a commercial gym and pretend like supplements are the answer and that I have the plan that's going to help everyone get into shape. But the stats are, even if I got you into shape, if you stop training with me, you're probably going to go back into bad habits, and crash diets just don't work.
And now you know why.
Now you know why.
That should be your public service announcement. Like One to Grow On. NBC had One to Grow On, or The More You Know.
Yeah.
Colin should be, and now you know why.
I don't know.
Someone make a jingle for Now You Know Why and send it. We will know that something is happening if somebody takes
that. What's a false narrative that you've seen recently that just made you shake your head and go, I can't believe people believe this, but lots of people believe it?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know one. I can't pull one off the top of my head because the one I keep thinking about whenever I keep thinking about the false narrative, it's the I don't know what it is with pedophilia lately, but people talk about pedophilia and people
because it's awful.
It's awful.
It's because it's such an awful thing.
No question.
And it's not only just so awful, but so hard for any normal person to wrap their head around how somebody could do such monstrous things to an innocent child.
Right.
That as soon as you say like this person's part of a pedophile ring, like even if you're not a conspiracy person, it pulls on that little heartstring. You're like,
maybe that's what it is.
It just makes you feel ill. And then if you are susceptible and you start listening to these videos and like, oh my God, the royal family is into pedophilia, and because there are so many fucking pedophiles out there. Like, that's the crazy shit.
Yeah.
We talk about all these. Yeah, there's a ton of false news about pedophile rings, but there's a ton of pedophile rings.
Well, human trafficking and all that. It's a big thing. And so, but I don't know.
Justin has joined us.
Yo, Justin. I don't see. I have a hard time now because I want to say that a lot of these celebrities and stuff that have been implicated or famous people that have been implicated in being part of these pedophile rings, that's a false narrative. I'm like, but I don't know for a fact because I'm just saying that based on me making a logic jump. I don't know any of these people. I've never met any of these people personally. I've never been in the same room with them that I know of. I don't know, maybe Hillary Clinton is really a lizard person. I don't know. But
it's a factually inconsistent narrative. It
doesn't make
sense. Because there's a lot of facts that just aren't true about it, but there are a lot of weird things. And there's a lot of weird things in the Podesta emails. If you look at the Podesta emails, there's a lot of weird things they talk about. And you're like, why are they talking about napkins that are pizza related? Like, I understand people making that jump, but you're also only being pulled little bits here and there, and things get like pieced together.
Right.
Also, if you add like false memories into this, if I tell you, oh, this happened, even though it didn't happen, and you go, oh, that happened. Oh, yeah, I kind of remember it that way. Oh, yeah. And then you start, like, your brain is so bad at memory. We're learning this. Terrible at memory. We're learning this more and more.
Eyewitness accounts are not.
They're starting to really question them. Also, the 9/11, like the day of 9/11, a lot of people that lived in the area, they have gone back and interviewed a lot of these people, and it's crazy the memories people are making up. Like insane. There's an episode of Explained on Netflix where this girl was when she was a kid, 9/11 happened. She was in school, and she remembers she lived in New York. She remembers looking out her classroom window and being able to see the smoke from the building, like the dust from the buildings come across her window, like on the lake or whatever.
Right.
And then she finds out later that her school wasn't even like facing a lake, and there's like no way that the smoke from the buildings would have ever like gotten.
She's taking news reports and she's put them into her
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So she's watched the news reports after. She remembers being in school when it happened, and she's putting these two things together.
Can I tell you the nerd version of this?
Yeah, I would love that.
There's a nerd version of this.
A nerd version.
Totally, 100%. Okay, so
Mandela effect?
No, it has to do with Star Wars fans. Okay, so in 1977, a movie called Star Wars came out, and then they
never heard of it.
It's a movie called Star Wars, and the original crawl, it says Star Wars, and a bunch of words go up.
Yeah.
Okay, and it tells you the story about what's brought you up to this point.
Right.
So now we're all on the same page, and it's like, okay, let's go watch the Death Star, and see this farm boy Luke Skywalker rise to fame. Okay. A few years after Star Wars came out, and it was decided that they were going to have sequels, they put on the tagline Episode 4, A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that wasn't originally in the original crawl for Star Wars. Okay. There was also this scene where Luke goes to Tashi Station to see his friends.
Mm-hmm.
That scene has been released since Star Wars has come out.
Okay.
And it's there are people who swear up and down that they saw a cut of the movie with that scene in it.
Yeah.
And it never happened. It didn't happen. It did not happen. But for years and years and years, there are people, and this is the underground before the internet was there. People would read an article here or there. There was this rumor coming around, and then suddenly there was people who were eyewitness accounts. No, you know what? I saw that scene. I remember that scene. I was there. And the people at Lucasfilm were like, no, you weren't.
And I think
here's why. And they've actually proven, no. Yeah. This is why you weren't there. But people, when they want to believe it so bad, and they think about it enough, they fixate on it enough. Logic connections form inside, or brain pathways form.
Yeah.
And that creates quite the problem.
Yeah.
AI is superior in that regard because it will have an accurate account of stuff.
Right.
And, so I guess bring on the AI, I suppose.
I think that's the answer. Get rid of humans, bring on the AI. No more emotion.
It was a good run, though.
I think this is a big reason why
the AI still likes wrestling.
Right. I think this is a big reason why we believe false news, is because we can easily be manipulated into false memories.
Yeah.
There was a experiment they did where they convinced a bunch of college students that they had committed crimes when they were younger. Right. And by the time they were done interviewing these students, they had all admitted and felt guilty about doing these crimes. They said were very vivid memories of them committing the crime, which is like insane.
You know what? And human suggestion, I mean, it can be used for good too. You think about these people with hypnosis or some of these things that they've done where they've convinced themselves that they're doing something or going to do something, and then they've done some big things in their life.
Yeah.
Like, man, I wish we as a species, I wish there was a law where we as a species could use that, because it's a very powerful motivator. It's a very powerful tool that we can use to increase human performance. I wish that there was some sort of a law, or even an unspoken law, like a taboo or whatever, where we just We just do that for positive things. Because right now you've got these forces of nature that are taking over and using these things to their advantage. And I just am, I'm saddened by that. I think everything's going to be okay. Don't get me wrong. I'm still an optimist. But I'm just saddened that people use these human behaviors for evil instead of good.
The crazy thing about being able to get people to believe things that didn't happen is it's kind of like, we talk about parallel universes. That's kind of like, sorry, like I know it's like a bit of a joke,
but someone just said all hail our robot overlords.
Oh, nice. It's kind of like a version of a parallel universe, or like a multiple realities.
Yes,
is we're all living in these like weird multiple parallel universes where we all believe different things happen and have different experiences. And at what point is your experience what actually happened or what you remember? Exactly. Like it's a very crazy blurred line.
Yeah, man. Did you have an active imagination as a child?
Well, very active.
Yeah? Is it still there?
Are
you still?
Not. I mean, yeah. I mean,
I do.
I'm a wrestler, so I mean, I have to create a story out of nothing every single time I wrestle, right?
Yeah, what do you do when you're just like sitting eating a bagel? Do you start imagining things?
Yeah, I mean,
I totally do. I'm like a little kid still.
I want to get into screenplay writing, so I definitely have some like story ideas. Yeah. Like I have this one story idea about a guy that would be like my age who ends up with early onset Alzheimer's at the same time as of his father.
Right.
So I've kind of started brewing some ideas for that. But not like it used.
How about you like you in your life, like a fantasy? Now I'm not talking sex stuff, because I mean there's sex fantasies of that, you know. Okay, sure, sure, yeah. We're not gonna delve that deep. Now. That's a different world of gray. So get woke. Oh no,
I said a world of 50 Shades of Grey.
No, but like, okay, so I'll give you one that I have right now. So this is an imagination example that I would have done as a kid, except now I'm an adult and I'm still acting like a kid. So my wife is building this big, huge, awesome, amazing tech platform called He Changed It. It's going to be an amazing mental health tool for men. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be world changing. It's going to be a thought leader. It's going to be kind of like the Me Too thing, except in a positive way, moving forward with men. And I'm excited about it. I'm super excited about it. We see the big things that are going to happen with it. And one of the fantasies that I've been playing with lately, and like literally I'll spend 5 minutes focusing on this, is I imagine that David Letterman is going to interview my wife on his show because she's going to be such a world changer. And with He Changed It, there's going to be a podcast component to it, and I'm going to host that podcast, and maybe we may even host World of Grey on it, and it's going to be really, really cool. More details for that coming sooner than you think. Anyway, in that fantasy, Candy walks in with a camera crew and they're recording my reaction on something, and which by that point there will be no problem because we have a podcast, multiple podcasts, all sorts of things. I'm always used to having cameras in my face. I already am used to that. And the reaction is they're saying, "Hey, Mike, guess what? Candy's been asked to be on David Letterman's new show." And I freak out and all this stuff. And then they finish it off by saying no, and he's agreed to be on the He Changed It podcast. And I live in it. Like I literally feel the joy of what it would feel like, because that's probably right now on my list of dreams. That's probably up there. I would say that's in the top 5 of experiences that I would like to experience in my life. Having a podcast interview with David Letterman, a long form conversation with that dude with microphones on, and let's just get it out there. There's not many things selfishly that I would want more than that. And I fantasize about that sometimes and think about that. And I let my imagination go, like when I was 5 or 6 years old, thinking about having the best toy that I wanted. I don't know. I'm an adult and I still do that. Do you do that?
That's a bit indulgent. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's great. Sorry.
Well, obviously.
No, but one thing you said that
I'm vulnerable about my indulgence.
One thing that's interesting that you said is that you feel that, like when you think about it, you feel that.
100%.
That's those empathy mirror neurons that we have, and that's a very human thing to listen to something, see something, especially with this. To tie it back into this fake news conversation that we're having, we as humans, when we have gaps in facts and gaps in data, we make up stories to fill the gaps.
Yes.
Right? So we've done this since the beginning of time. And I'm not religious, and I don't really want to, I've got to be careful not touching on religion, but this is where I think religion came from, because when we didn't understand the world and the universe and we were scared, we made up stories about the stars and the cosmos and these, beings that were overlooking us, and that's what the sky is, right? Because we were scared and we didn't know. We added the gaps in the data with this long version story, and these stories get moved from time to time to time. And I mean, everything stories. You watch a commercial, they're selling you a story. I'm telling you stories about my life so you can feel what I feel and understand what's going on. We just have all these gaps, so that's a very human thing. So everything I say and it sounds judgy because I'm like, oh, well, you read something, but you should research it, blah, blah, blah. I'm not blaming people for listening to these fake news story and being shocked by it and like wanting to spread it because they want people to know about this injustice that's happening in the world. That's very human.
I blame them. Stop gossiping. Stop gossiping. If you don't know, then don't say it.
Unfortunately, we live in a world where a lot of bad information gets pushed and circulated. If you scroll up to the top of the comments, I put a YouTube video about circulation reporting. Circulation reporting.
If you're watching my watch party, you haven't seen that, so go on to the World of Great podcast. You'll see it there.
And
also,
it's just
share and subscribe.
It's a really simple. Yes, thank you. Yeah. It's a really simple animation explaining how quickly this stuff can spread.
Yeah.
So, and there's a bunch. I've seen other videos talking about how quickly bad information spreads.
Okay, you know when it happened though too. These gap filling things, this bad information, happens with internet dating. It still happens to this day. But when internet dating became a thing, there were these stories, and I knew people who did this. They met somebody online. They're like, "Oh my god, it's my soulmate," and they
Marty Sugar has joined us.
Yeah, he's joined. He's been on my watch party.
M-Shug.
Yeah, M-Shug.
I was doing your thing.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I like
make a nickname out of
M-Shug.
Yeah, M-Shug.
I got a funny wrestling story.
Adre.
Nice.
Yeah, right.
I got a funny wrestling story that I'm going to tell on the Meat Market podcast in less than 20 or in about 20 minutes when we go live.
Can the World of Great podcast start a watch party with the Meat Market podcast?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't either. Okay.
This is why we need a producer.
Yeah, we need a producer badly. Anyway, internet dating. Yeah, so people would be like meeting people online and be like, oh, and then they'd see a person. There'd be some commonalities and a spark would happen.
Mm-hmm.
And they would be like, I am leaving my family for you, and I'm going across the country.
They make a story about that person.
That one or two commonalities, they connect the dots completely in their mind as to who this person is and how this person is their soulmate that they're going to connect with. They leave their family, they go across the country, and they meet this person, and then they're like, oh, I filled in some of those gaps incorrectly. They assume certain things about the person, and they're entirely wrong.
Well, and when you really
there's a learning curve to internet dating.
Yeah, when you really think about the fact that humans believe stories a lot easier than they believe like a factual document where they have to like bring in information.
Yes.
It becomes a really interesting activity or exercise to stop yourself and ask what is the story I'm telling myself?
Yes.
I sent this really long email to my staff, and the story I even put it in the email. I said the story I'm telling myself is that everyone reading this is like, get to the fucking point.
Right.
But if you and me have an interaction, usually our interactions are very positive, very happy.
I would say delightful.
Very delightful. And this is like a big reason why we know we get along and we're friends, because we're very respectful of each other. We tell each other we appreciate each other. We love each other.
There's a respect of our poker playing prowess.
All of it. Now, if you're really tired in a day and you come over here and you're really busy and you're really stressed out, and I say some things and you're kind of in your own world, but I don't understand that, and you kind of shrug off a couple comments, the story I might tell myself is, oh, like Mike's mad at me for something. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I did say something last week that he didn't agree with. And maybe like he's like resentful of that. Oh my god! Like maybe he's gonna stop doing this podcast with
Mike
me.
Chisholm is one thing. It's
maybe he's gonna like tell a bunch of people that I'm a piece of shit. Like I can tell myself like a crazy. It's like that ridiculous line I always talk about, how like you get in trouble at work, and then the story you tell yourself is that your boss is going to be so mad at you that you're going to get fired, and then you're going to get fired, and you're never going to find another job again, and then your mortgage is going to go for too long, and then you're going to lose your house, and then you're going to be homeless, and then you're going to starve to death, and then you're going to die. What is the story you're telling yourself? Right? Fears. So it's, we look at this fake news, and then the story we tell ourselves is that, the world is this, that, and the other. And hey, don't get me wrong, there's some fucked up shit going on in the world. There's a lot of things that we need to be aware of. There's a lot of things.
That's true.
there's a lot of things that we need to, be vocal about. The war on Yemen. I couldn't go one podcast without it.
Not possible.
Like the worst humanitarian crisis in history. Trump sending troops to Saudi Arabia because of an attack supposedly from Iran that has never been proven. This is like Iraq 2.0 all over again, right? Like we need to start looking around and be like, why are we doing these things? Where's the information? Where's the real information to why we're doing these things?
Tell people a story, you'll get a reaction.
And that's the deal. Like, is it just a narrative? What is the narrative going around? Who started the narrative, and why is this narrative happening? And who gets to gain from this? Absolutely. Who gains from this? And I think that's another big.
So we can bring this down to small though, because we can ask everybody out there, hey, what's your story?
One person on the YouTube.
Darn right.
Comment who you are.
All right.
Ask us if we're mad liberals.
Oh, we're not mad liberals.
You mad liberals?
We're not happy liberals either. We're just two dudes, man.
Just two dudes.
So here's the question: what story are you telling yourself? Like, what story are you? And I'm not just you, but the viewer. Like, what's your narrative about yourself? The trajectory of your life? Because guess what? If you're willing to believe that. Somebody, Hillary Clinton's a lizard person,
which she might be.
Okay, which we don't know for a fact that she is not. All right, she was on Colbert this week, and I was like, all right, I guess I kind of see it a little bit.
I think George Bush Jr.'s wife is a robot. Have you ever watched her in an interview?
Well, yeah. I mean, she's Teflon, man. She comes off a little Stepford. But if you're willing to believe things like that, like just think about that. Not you personally. If humans are willing to believe that Michelle Obama is, in fact, a former male of our species. Okay, whatever. I don't care about that, although it's intriguing to think about, I suppose. If humans are able to believe that, and they're able to go through their life, and they're able to actually attach emotion to that, think about what you could do if you created a narrative for yourself where you were moving forward in life, and you're succeeding in life, and you were actually making a difference in other people's lives. You were making a difference in your family's life. You were taking things to the next level from a career standpoint. And you believe those things. You know what's going to happen? Those things are going to happen.
Can I world agree you real quick?
Please.
So I agree with that. Positive thinking, like always
positive narrative.
Always think that you can do better.
Yes.
One thing I would caution people, because I know individuals that have this temperament type or personality trait, is you're not always right, and you will do things wrong, and you need to admit and you need to have accountability, right? This is the thing, is I don't think that you should be so hard on yourself that I'm the worst and that was stupid and I'm an idiot and blah, blah, blah. But every action you take, you have to take accountability for that action.
Yes.
And when somebody, and I know, and it's very natural for us to get defensive and blame the other person or blame somebody else, because we've talked about this a million times.
Yes.
We don't want to be wrong, because if we're wrong, we might get fired. Blah, blah, blah. I just went down the whole rabbit hole, right? And then we died. Right? But when you take a breath and you look at it and you go, okay, well, maybe that's like, we have to be able to take accountability for our actions and discuss our accountability for our actions. And on the other side of that, when somebody is taking responsibility for their actions, we need to accept them taking responsibility and work out the steps to rectify the mistake.
Right.
Instead of just, when someone opens that door, you jump down your throat, right? This has happened to me in the workplaces where I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, this is my fault. And that person, I don't know what's going on in their life, but they've jumped down my throat and then just attacked me and made me feel like the biggest piece of shit idiot.
Because gag reflex kicks in immediately.
Just because they probably lost some sort of power somewhere in their life, and they're just using this to control me or whatever, right? Like I know that, so I try not to take offense to it, but we're all developing ourselves. And I just think, I say it like a broken record, but we just need to be a little bit more critical about our own behaviors and about the information that we bring in. And we're slowly becoming the podcast that's a public service announcement for information. But I honestly think
know why
we're in a war of information right now, and we need to fight back against false narratives and fake news. And it's just gotten so convoluted. I was saying this in a post. Trump had put out an Instagram video that's like anti-Biden and pro-Trump for the election coming up. And it's brilliant. It looks so good. It's so factually inaccurate, but it looks so good. And like, if I knew nothing, I would 100% just like I would be buying what he's selling, right?
Hey, Ma, I got involved in politics. I watched the video. Aren't you proud of me?
Yeah, right? But it's getting so
I don't know why I use that accent, but I use that accent.
Because almost all mainstream media has some sort of false news woven within it, with the military industrial complex trying to push narratives that aren't true, with Trump lying about things that he's doing that are 100% illegal, trying to downplay it, saying that he's allowed to do whatever he wants. So he's lying, the other side's lying.
Yes, add to that an influencer culture, by the way. Influencers who are doing using their name without using their mind to know if the facts that they're influencing are correct or not. And we have this entire culture and subculture within our culture now with influencers peddling the same thing unknowingly.
Yeah, no, that's
unknowingly.
It's a really good point. Trump kind of is an influencer because Trump always looks at everything as the Trump brand, and he just does everything based off that. It doesn't matter if it's illegal or if it's crooked or if it's going to kill people, as long as it's going to, make him and his friends happy and his
envelope.
And his brand better and the Trump name better and make him look good. Like he calls him, like, it's so crazy. He talks about how he's a stable genius, and like he's not doing that. I mean, he probably is narcissistic, but I'm not a fucking psychologist. But it's more because he's trying.
Should be a t-shirt.
I'm not a psychologist.
Get woke.
Get woke.
Get woke. I'm not a fucking psychologist.
But a lot of it is he's just trying to make people think that the Trump brand, which includes himself, is like so high up on this pedestal that he's like a god that you just have to believe everything that comes out of his mouth, or like a cult leader.
Okay, so yes, maybe he is this guy that is such an uber ultra narcissist
who has all the best words
at the highest level,
the best words,
who is just got the pedal down, going for it, trying to see the strength of the system, of the infrastructure of the system. Maybe that is what he is, and he is just going for it. An uber personality trying to do uber things. Or you think about the other narrative that's been created, that it's all a conspiracy, that he is being pulled back and forth by, so
Eggnon.
So here's what's going to happen.
Eggnon?
This dude is going to be, he's going to be impeached. He's going to whatever. And it's all part of a bigger plan. And Trump is just a player within that plan. And so
pedophile rings. Goes back to the pedophile rings.
Goes back to pedophile rings. So right now, it's like, okay, which are you going to believe? Well, you know what? I'm just going to live my life and be a dude who doesn't peddle false narratives and tries to live an authentic life. And as you know, the best ability is vulnerability.
It's a little Brene Brown for you.
Yeah, a little Brene Brown. I'm almost in that book.
I finished it.
I'm about 50 pages out.
It's good.
Dare to Lead is very good.
Dare to Lead is very good.
Yeah, I'm rumbling these days. I'm living in my vulnerability. I love being vulnerable. Actually. I enjoy it very much.
We're vulnerable every week when we put this very modest podcast out and collect our modcast. The World Grey modcast. We're gonna try to stay humble and modest no matter how many views we get, and we're not gonna change the narratives that we put out and our honest opinions about things just because we are reaching a certain audience. We want to reach everyone. We want people to disagree with us and maybe agree with us occasion, and whatever. And going back to storytelling, Brene Brown talks about this a lot. And this is, I'm trying to kind of get the culture of my team to check in with each other, like the story I'm telling myself. But the fact is that's
a powerful thing right there.
The story we're telling, just to check in, right? Because I don't like gossiping and I don't want people talking about each other behind their backs. And it's check in with each other. Like the story I'm telling myself is you're not happy with me because I said this and blah, blah. And anyways, that's a whole nother thing. Culture is not built overnight. Kelly Taylor. That's a quote from Kelly
Culture is not built overnight.
Culture is not built overnight. So she like keeps me calm, I think.
She's right.
Kelly Taylor.
She's totally right.
And I'm like, I need everything to be perfect right now. But we be thinking about the fact that we like stories. What's the biggest component to an easy story, to a storytelling? Think pro wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Good guy?
Yeah.
Bad guy?
Yep. Protagonist,
right?
Antagonist.
Wrong. Okay?
Yep.
So now when you mix that into these political narratives, especially with this Ukraine, Biden, Trump situation, we all want a right side and a wrong side. We want a good guy and a bad guy. Let me tell you, in this narrative, there's no good guy.
No.
There's just two corrupt bad sides trying to tell you that they're the right ones.
Yeah.
And if this goes for any war, it doesn't matter who is actually right or wrong. Each side, right? Each country is the good guy.
Yeah.
Right? In their own country, in their respective country, they are the good guy.
Absolutely.
Okay. And the other side is the bad guy. And if you're on the other side thinking they're the bad guy, they're thinking the same thing about you. Okay. So we need
to want us all to be a bunch of good guys.
Yeah, and hey, you can have two good sides. We could have all good sides. We could all have a common good, a common goal, a common strategy, and we could all work towards that. But we don't, because we're all just fighting over a bunch of things, and we're all just a bunch of people living in a society divided by black and white arguments. And myself, Kelowna's Cougar Meat Kid, Colin Cutler.
I too am involved in this. I am the flow, Mike Chisholm.
We are here to help you help us explore the world of gray. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thanketh everyone
for joining us
on YouTube.
Peace
and love.
Love.
Peace and love. The YouTube is over.